Welcome to Digital Diva Daily.
This is commentary under fair use for review and educational purposes.
Today's scandal, up next.
So let's get into it. Roll the clip.
And quote, at what point are y'all gonna stop making me have to relive being shot by Tory? At what point are Tory and y'all fans gonna stop lying? Like, how much is the check to keep harassing me? Why is this happening every day? 1 minute y'all said I was never shot. Now y'all letting him play in y'all face again and say I was shot. But it wasn't him. Oh, okay. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of this shit. Leave me the fuck alone. He ain't dare get on that stand and deny he shot me, and that was his choice because he knows he did that shit. I don't give a fuck about a blog or a bot. Why in the fuck would me, Megan Thee Stallion, have to lie on the motherfucker about shooting me? That's what she came back with.
Not much to say back to that.
I mean, she has some passion in her voice right now.
What y'all think about this, though?
To produce a single shred of forensic evidence tying Tory to the actual gun. His fingerprints weren't on it. His DNA was later found to be 100% nearly excluded from the gun, as shown in the worksheet that was provided to the defense late on the eve of the actual trial.
That's crazy.
You say it online every day. You figure out how to get your to say you didn't do it. You figure out how to get the blogs to say you didn't do it. But the one it would have mattered from was you. You should have said, I didn't do it. Kelsey did it. If she did it, why wouldn't you just say she did it? Kelsey, if you did not do it, why won't you just say, I did not do it?
Mr. James informed us he was working as the bodyguard and driver for Ms. Kelsey Harris during Mr. Peterson's trial. Mr. James informed United People that he was witness to the conversation Ms. Harris had, where she stated she had the gun, she fired it 3 times, Mr. Peterson grabbed her arm and knocked it down, and the gun fired 2 more times.
To specifically on the number, the DNA specifically for the gun, 0.01%. That means that it's literally not him. Clearly not correct that this is an innocent man that's been in prison. I'm saying, like, you put gag orders on people so they can't defend themselves. That's nuts.
So if you don't want to say she shot her, then you shot her, and that's the end of that.
What's up, guys? It's your girl Rivah, and I am back again with another video. So many of you guys have wanted to hear my take on this situation regarding Tory Lanez possibly being actually innocent, even though he was incarcerated for what happened with him and Meg Thee Stallion after a party.
2022, singer, rapper Tory Lanez convicted of shooting performer Megan Thee Stallion after a party. Here's the story. They're at the party. After the party, they get into an argument. Lanez tells Megan Thee Stallion, dance, and shoots at her feet like a cowboy movie, hits her.
And you guys wanted to know my thought process of basically everything that has now been revealed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and press play, pause play, give you guys my thoughts, my feelings, my opinions on this entire situation.
Tory Lanez, have you seen this evidence firsthand that you've spoken about?
I actually saw a new affidavit, and there's going to be. I was made aware of some ring footage, so video footage, and actually just talked to one of his attorneys, and so that will likely be released in the next, well, whenever they decide to release it.
So this woman talking is actually Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, and it says that she is currently serving her 2nd term as a representative for Florida's 13th Congressional District. She serves on the Oversight and Government Reform Committee along with the Foreign Affairs Committee. She is also the chairwoman of the Task Force on the Declassification of Federal Secrets. So this woman who is speaking on, his behalf and decided to do something, she did say that, she knows Amber Rose. This woman is a Republican. She knows Amber Rose. And so Amber Rose introduced the case to her and thought it was something that she would look into. And based off of all of the evidence that she's seen, she doesn't understand how he was, basically able to even be in jail right now, right? She said that she's seen, ring footage. She's seen a new sworn affidavit. She's seen so many other details that it's mind-boggling to her that Tory Lanez himself is behind bars based off of the information that she's seen.
next couple days.
So does the attorney have that footage
Oh
right
yeah,
now?
they have actually a lot of evidence. I'm surprised that, you know, a lot of people, some of it were like, oh, well, that's not new news, but some people were completely unaware too, specifically on the number, you know, the DNA specifically for the gun, 0.01%. That means that it's literally not him.
I think she's right about that, because a lot of the things that she has been, you know, relaying out to the public, a lot of people really didn't know. Like, what do you mean that, you know, on the weapon that was used, that, you know, Tory Lanez allegedly used when Meg Thee Stallion got shot in her foot, there was none of his DNA on that weapon? Like, how does that even happen? How does that even occur? How was there a situation where the only evidence that they were going off of was witness statements and basically, you know, the weapon itself, and when they dust that weapon, that none of his DNA is on it? So how could it have possibly been him that did that? That's weird.
They also didn't test people, but yeah, so that stuff will all be released, I think, in the coming days.
So, and have you spoken with Governor Newsom or anyone else about this?
I actually have a call into his office, and so we're working on scheduling a time. And there's a letter that should be going out to him later on today or tomorrow morning.
If you guys are unaware, she obviously has to talk to Governor Newsom, who is the governor of California. And the reason why is because, remember, even though there was something going on between Megan Thee Stallion, her friend Kelsey, and Tory Lanez, it was the state of California that decided to press charges on Tory on the party's behalf. You know, sometimes the state will do that, regardless of if you want to be involved or if you want to press charges or not press charges. The state decided to do that. And so now she has to talk to him about how they're going to move forward, again, based off of the evidence that she's seen.
So I would assume, since these are strictly state charges, this would have to be a state pardon, correct? President Trump can't be involved?
Correct. It's up to Governor Newsom, but I think that, you know, there's a lot of people that are looking at the evidence and saying, hey, this is clearly not correct, that this is an innocent man that's been imprisoned. And I think that that's where, you know, on the federal side of things, when I talk to Tory's in jail, as you know, so I talked to him on the phone. And I think prison reform is going to be something that he's going to definitely tackle once he gets out. And it's pretty wild that this kind of case can happen. Also, too, he had a gag order placed on him during the trial, so he couldn't even, and like, that's just so insane. Like, you put gag orders on people so they can't defend themselves? That's nuts.
Now, this was something that I thought was strange. You know, she talked about the fact that he had a gag order placed on him while the trial was going on. But what never made sense to me, something I never understood, is why Tory Lanez never took the stand. If Tory Lanez was there, Kelsey was there, and Meg Thee Stallion was there, why didn't Tory Lanez take the stand? And then kind of like relying on the fact that, you know, he had a gag order in place, and so he couldn't have talked about it publicly or openly. But publicly and openly doesn't really matter. What matters is what happened when you were there in the courtroom, and why was it not advised that he actually be on the stand, questioned, whatever the case is, so that, you know, he could have spoken up for himself, because clearly no one else was doing that for him. And obviously there's something that is wrong, because if his DNA is not on the weapon, then how can anybody prove that it was him who did it? That makes zero sense to me. One thing that is interesting about this woman is that, you know, she's married. So a lot of people are like, oh, you know, she probably just want to be with Tory or whatever. I don't think so. You know, she did serve in the Air Force, so she's more of like a logical thinking type of woman. And I just believe that she sees a way for, you know, this information got to the right person. And she was like, no, we're not just going to let this go by and, you know, not talk about it and push this under the rug. This is a very serious accusation. This is a long time that he's supposed to be spending behind bars. And also, we saw what recently happened to him, you know, being behind bars, and how detrimental it is to his own safety. Now, this has been such a crazy week in regards to, I mean, so many cases. This case, the Diddy case, so many cases. But, you know, the bodyguard who was on duty also obviously spoke out and said that that's not what he saw. He never saw Tory do anything. He actually saw the female, which is Megan Thee Stallion's friend Kelsey, allegedly that she was the one who actually did it.
Mr. James informed us he was working as the bodyguard and driver for Ms. Kelsey Harris during Mr. Peterson's trial. Mr. James informed United People that he was witness to the conversation Ms. Harris had, where she stated she had the gun, she fired it 3 times, Mr. Peterson grabbed her arm and knocked it down, and the gun fired 2 more times.
Now, what's so weird to me is that, you know, Megan Thee Stallion has had very brash, just kind of like crash out behavior after all this information coming forward, after all these conversations coming forward. And it's very strange to me because, you know, if you know, like, I'll just use myself, for example. If I know something, I don't need to try to prove the truth to anybody else. You think what you want to think, believe what you want to believe. But if I know what the truth is, I don't need to try to go out and discredit anybody else for whatever's upcoming. You know, if you told the truth and you said that you saw who did it and it was him, it doesn't matter what evidence comes out, it's still going to be him, right? Because you're the one who saw it. But you being so defensive is kind of like a red flag.
Is getting denied every time they try to set a motion for a new trial. So they trying to pull out the air like, okay, let's do this now. I'm not about to keep going with y'all. Y'all defending somebody who didn't even take the stand and defend themselves.
Now, what she said about the person not going on the stand and defending themselves, I agree. Okay, I do agree with that. Now, again, I don't know if it was from the advice of his attorney or whoever. I'm not sure why he thought that was a good idea. I don't know why he thought that he could trust these 2 women who have freedom to be able to not, do whatever the case. Just like how Cat Williams said, if you're not going to say that Kelsey did it, then you did it.
Tory Lanez and Meg, what would you take on that? Because I know you got to take on everything.
It's a difficult position because somebody's not going to tell the truth. And the truth has got to be told. So if you don't want to say she shot her, then you shot her. And that's the end of that.
So for that part of the conversation and what she's saying, I do agree. You know, there's a lot of people who are defending him when he did not think it was the right thing to do to defend himself. And so now he's having to backpedal and backtrack to try to fix something that could have been fixed if he would have spoken up for himself. But she kept going.
Y'all going back and forth about facts. Y'all could go read real. Like, y'all literally believe anything if it's bold and in all caps. Like, go read something that's going to take you a minute to sit down and have a good read. Like, go read something that's going to make you have to do some critical thinking. Not a thing that is curated by bots and blogs that hate me. Like, y'all need to sit down and have a good read. Like, imagine somebody saying that they did not commit a crime and not defending themselves to the T. Imagine y'all saying somebody is following the street code, not snitching. Are you snitching or are you not snitching? Because y'all trying to pretend like Kelsey shot me. Kelsey didn't fucking shoot me. And I really wonder why her main problem with me was, you won't tell people I didn't shoot you. I was like, Kelsey, I don't want to talk about this on social media at all. But now you won't even get online and defend yourself. So that really just proves my points. Either you took some money or your life is in danger. Like, why won't you get online and say, because this is what y'all care about. Y'all care about online because the case already won in court. But y'all care about online. Why would y'all not get up there and say, if you say you didn't shoot me, why won't you get on the stand and say I didn't shoot this? You say it online every day. You figure out how to get your to say you didn't do it. You figure out how to get the blogs to say you didn't do it. But the one it would have mattered from was you. You should have said I didn't do it. Kelsey did it. If she did it, why wouldn't you just say she did it? Kelsey, if you did not do it, why won't you just say I did not do it? I know who shot me. I said who shot me, and that's why I'm in jail. Y'all are dragging it online like it's some new evidence. There's no new evidence. Witnesses went missing. Why? I wonder why the witnesses went missing. Did y'all pay them? Why y'all showing up now?
Now, I don't know what she was reading, but it was very strange to me that she was saying if Kelsey said that she didn't do it, then why won't she just say that she didn't do it? And if you, like, she was doing this play on words, and it was very strange to me because it's like, so are you sure that you know? Because maybe you don't know. And the 2 people who do know are not being forthcoming with the information. Like, one person is not saying out, we're speaking out and defending themselves, and then the other person is now on social media also not defending themselves and not saying that she didn't do it either, like, or she did it or not did it. So it's just a very strange thing. But again, it's just opening up this whole new can of worms. And I don't think that Megan needs to be defensive about anything, because regardless of who did it, if there's evidence that she actually had that situation happen to her, she would still be the victim in this situation. Even if it was the girl and not him. But what's weird is that according to some kind of DNA, whatever, they're trying to say that maybe that situation in itself is not happening the way that it has been reported either.
You know, finally, why is this so important to you?
My goodness, this guy's an innocently incarcerated man. Obviously, you know, we're by no means perfect, but that type of situation cannot stand if you have a double standard of justice that exists. Also, too, when the evidence was brought forward and presented to me, I mean, I was pretty baffled that he was even charged after what I saw. And so specifically, you know, you're talking about someone who's basically been smeared and dragged publicly saying and alleging that he shot someone in the foot. By the way, did you know that the ballistics evidence says otherwise, and that there's no bullet fragments? They can't locate those alleged bullet fragments. I mean, how do you even have a conviction on that? It's really crazy. So,
thanks, Congresswoman.
This woman is very strong about what she's talking about. She's very logically thinking. She's not emotionally charged. You know, she is not, she has no dog in the fight, but she sees something and she wants to, you know, bring awareness to it. And that's exactly what's happening. And it's obviously stirring some kind of controversy because Megan Thee Stallion is real upset about it. But I don't know. We're definitely going to have to watch this closely. They said so many times that certain things were going to be released and a lot of things have not been released yet. So we're just going to have to wait and see if that's even something that's going to occur. I'd like to know what you guys think about this whole situation. What do you guys think happened that night? What do you guys think this situation is? Like, what are your thoughts on this entire case? Make sure you put them in the comment section down below. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And I will see you guys in the next one. Love you.
2022, singer, rapper Tory Lanez, convicted of shooting performer Megan Thee Stallion after a party at the Hollywood Hills home of Kylie Jenner. Here's the story. They're at the party. After the party, they get into an argument. Lanez tells Megan Thee Stallion, dance, and shoots at her feet like a cowboy movie, hits her. Proof? Testimony of Megan Thee Stallion, her friend Kelsey Harris, and DNA evidence on the weapon that convinced jurors to convict. Pretty simple, right? Maybe not. Turns out that DNA, only a 0.01% chance that the DNA is from Lanez. He's always maintained his innocence. He was sentenced to 10 years, so this is really about the testimony. Lanez, so what happens? So he goes away, recently stabbed 14 times in prison. Many say it was a hit, okay? Because new evidence is about to come out. All right, a little conspiratorial, but he was definitely stabbed. Lane's supporters believe that the media doesn't care because Megan Thee Stallion is represented by Jay-Z's Rock Nation. Now, I could give a damn about Jay-Z or his company. This just wasn't a case on my radar until now. Why? Anna Paulina Luna. She is a representative from Florida. You see her here on a regular basis. She says she's got new evidence, says it wasn't him. And she joins us now.
Before she jumps in, let me just say this. This don't even sound believable. It never sounded believable from the very beginning. They leaving a party, and he just gets a gun and says, dance, be dance. And he starts shooting her in the feet. A chick that he busting down, that she lied and said that they wasn't sexually active as far as romantically and all of that stuff. It don't even sound right. It sounds stupid.
Representative APL, it's good to have you.
Thanks, Chris. Happy to be back on. And thanks for taking a look at this case.
No, listen, you tell me to take a look at it, I'll look at it. But why did you look at it? I mean, this isn't your jurisdiction. I don't know you to have any connection to any of these people.
Yeah, so as you know, we are on oversight and accountability. And so this case was actually initially flagged for me by Amber Rose. And the reason why I took a particular interest in it is because of the fact that they actually had evidence that they presented to me in my office that actually disproved the conviction. So as you stated earlier, that 0.01% of DNA, they actually found 4 people's DNA on that firearm, none of which was Tory's. Not to mention there was 0 fingerprints on the actual magazine. And also, too, as you said, 0.01% 1% chance. I mean, that evidence in itself should pretty much speak for itself. Also, there's been ring footage that's been obtained that actually disproves the whole dance, Megan. And so what we're seeing is really there was a case of he said, she said. The evidence wasn't actually respected and properly adhered to actually in the trial. And then they also were doing something that I would find pretty wild and egregious. They were actually submitting his lyrics for rap as evidence to the crime. So look, first and foremost, you have to have a free and fair society. That means we need to respect and uphold the justice system. So I actually reached out today to Gavin Newsom's office, and we are requesting an emergency meeting. We're also working with other Democrats, specifically to the California delegation. But I think that this is something that's pretty egregious, that the way that this was handled, the way that it was. I think that it was largely driven by headlines. And aside from the people involved and the parties involved, obviously I take domestic violence, I take this very seriously, Chris, but I also take very seriously the fact that I do believe, based on the evidence that I've seen, that Tory's innocent. And I think that it sets a really bad message when you have someone of his stature, and also to someone that is as influential as he is, that's being wrongfully incarcerated. And that's exactly why we wanted to use our megaphone for a good reason and help get him his pardon, which I think.
And I think that he deserves a pardon immediately, because if there's no DNA evidence on a gun, and the only thing that you have is testimony from the person that was jealous at the time, that also lied in an interview, that said that she didn't even have sex with him or they wasn't romantically linked when they absolutely were, that's pretty insane. That's 100% insane. And I think that 100% he needs to be freed. And the thing that bothered me the most about this whole situation is that he was convicted in a court of public opinion before he ever got a trial. He was put a gag order on. She was able to talk. Obviously, we know record labels and marketing was involved in that because she was a heavy investment. And now she's crashing out and trying to make it seem like he's still guilty. And it seems as though he got set up in jail and was stabbed 14 times. That's not right. That absolutely is not right. You cannot convict a person in a court of public opinion, which they did that first. And then the second thing is, you cannot just throw somebody under the bus and ignore the justice system and endure evidence or withhold evidence that would allow for him to be able to be free. That's 10 years of this man's life. He almost came within an inch of dying, was stabbed 14 times. That's pretty egregious. That's pretty egregious. And anybody, including all of these women that continue to stand on this and act like he still deserved to be in prison, shame on you. And please stop talking about how you protect and how you stand up for black men, because you know that's a lie.
He'll get.
So, Luna, who did it? I mean, she says and her friends say that he did it. And who else would have done it? And what proof do you have to support that? I get it. Maybe they didn't make the case the right way with the weapon, but who did it?
You know, Chris, that's not for me to weigh in, and that's definitely for the judge and the jury. But what I will tell you is, based on the evidence that we have, the evidence that we have says that he wasn't the guy. And so I do think that Gavin Newsom has some great attorneys that will look at this. But I'd also like to point out that the prosecutor specifically on this case that initially brought the charges is a very interesting prosecutor. Look into who ran him. And at the end of the day, you know, I think Hollywood, as you know, Chris, and politics does overlap. And there's a lot of interesting stuff that happened there. So look at the evidence for yourself. We've posted it for the entire world to see, to determine for themselves. And I know that Tory's legal team actually has an incredible case. And so we are calling on Gavin Newsom to issue that pardon immediately. And also remember, he was almost killed in jail. I actually talked to him today on the phone. And he said that once he does get out, once he does get this pardon, which I do feel confident that he'll be getting, he's going to work extensively in prison reform, because this should never happen to anyone.
It shouldn't.
Anna Paulina Luna, this is a really interesting one. I've never covered a situation like this before, but I appreciate you using your platform, and let the legal team know we'll be reaching out if they want to come on to make the case. I'm happy to hear it, and we'll check in with the governor's office as well. Thank you very much for coming on.
And again, I think that this is unfortunate that you got a man, because you don't get a second life. Look, you may disagree with, or you may not necessarily rock with Tory Lanez, right? You may not necessarily care about Tory Lanez, but the one thing that we should stand for is our justice system. And we've spent so much time trying to please people and please women and make sure that we see people and that we acknowledge that they're seen and all of this stuff. That should not come as a result of putting a man in jail that don't deserve to be there, that could not be convicted based off of the evidence, but was convicted based off of the court of public opinion. I'm disappointed. I really am disappointed. And I said this from the beginning. You still see people on social media that still is standing for Meg Thee Stallion, and they won't even acknowledge, look at, or recognize, but they want to make sure that you recognize and acknowledge them and how they feel, but they won't even recognize the new evidence. I can't wait till this ring evidence is put out there. So hopefully we'll be able to get it and obtain it so that we can review it. Again, I don't think that Tory Lanez should have been in jail at all. It's unfortunate that we find ourselves in this position to have to advocate for something. If I'm going to advocate for something, I'm going to advocate for what's right. Doesn't matter if it's a man, don't matter if it's a woman, don't matter if it's any of that. We should absolutely be advocating for what's right. And Tory Lanez need to be released immediately. Hopefully he does. And here's the worst part. We need to hold Meg Thee Stallion accountable. Megan Thee Stallion needs to be held accountable. I think that we need reform, so much so that the people that make false accusations and get people convicted based off of public opinion and power, they should be sent to jail. And then they need to investigate who ordered this hit also. I want everybody gone.
Social media games by now, then I don't know what to tell y'all. But you guys have to pay attention. Like, I knew this was going to happen. This is just the beginning, y'all. I know y'all want me to talk, but this is just the beginning. So, like, when it's my turn, just know I'm going to break everything the fuck down, okay? And we're going to see who really look bad in the end.
Shout out to Megan, but sis, you really need to get that story together. We're not trying to make you relive anything traumatic, but the math ain't mathing.
Because if Tory didn't touch the gun, who shot you? Kelsey pled the fifth and walked away with immunity. Your former bodyguard reportedly said Kelsey did it, and yet you're still pointing fingers at Tory?
Girl, make it make sense. The trial may be over, but this new evidence, it could put you and your whole version of events in a very bad light.
Kelsey might have been the smartest one in the house because she said less and walked free. Meanwhile, Megan, you're still talking, still tweeting, still doing interviews.
And of course, allegedly, but it's giving messy.
Clean it up, sis, because right now the truth is catching up faster than the damage can be controlled.
This is Digital Divas Daily,
where the drip is coated,
the clapbacks are custom,
and the tea is always piping hot.
You know what I'm saying? I don't like that shit. For sure, bro. I don't like that shit.
Thanks for tuning into the channel. Comment below how you feel, and don't forget to subscribe.
Support the squad, like, share, or tip us a digital coffee if today's take gave what it was supposed to give.